Here's Mike Gallagher.
To be happy in an environment like this one here at the Gaylord Hotel. Welcome in. We are broadcasting from the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, which is a big gathering of Christian broadcasters from literally all over the world. And we are thrilled to be in this environment. We're going to talk to some really neat people. We'll catch up with our friends from the IFCJ in anticipation. I've got a major announcement about our Israel trip. That's coming up. And all kinds of breaking news. So welcome in to Grapevine, Texas, home of the National Religious Broadcasters Convention and the NRB. Everything is normal, though. 800-655-MIKE to call or text. We're streaming, of course, as always, on X. We're up and running on all of our platforms, and we're glad to have you along for the ride. I saw, before I walked into the ballroom today where we're broadcasting from, I saw a young man named Harry Sisson. You heard of him? He's a young influencer, and I know people get all aggravated on our side over the Harry Sissons and the David Hoggs. I tend to give these young people a little bit of grace, a little bit of, I cut them some slack, because at least at their age, they're out there advocating for what they believe in, and they're slinging and fighting hard. And they're devastated by Trump's victory. And this kid said last night, we warned you, MAGA is now having buyer's remorse. There's now buyer's remorse over the election of Donald J. Trump. You know, they've got people being laid off. There are emails going out asking for people to explain their jobs. And incidentally, is that the nuttiest thing you've seen? Can you imagine working in your space and your boss says to you, give us an email and explain what you did last week? What were things you accomplished last week? Can you imagine having a meltdown about that and telling your boss to basically go pound salt? I'm offended by that. Do we have the lady Christian? I got to get settled in here and get the cut sheet. But how about the lady who went on, I don't know, MSNBC, CNN, who they're all interchangeable, although MSNBC looks like a war zone these days. How about this young woman, a federal employee, expressing not frustration, not sadness, but utter rage that her boss, the President of the United States, wants to know what she accomplished last week. Check this out.
First, just tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Sure. I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m., and I felt absolutely infuriated getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination. This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal workforce, which is part of his broader plan to gut the federal workforce and privatize public sector services to ensure that corporations like his own can get more profit. And that makes me really angry, my coworkers as well.
Does that make you really angry, young lady? Are you really angry at that? Are you being bullied? Are you being harassed and intimidated? Do you got the sads because your boss wants you to justify what you did for a living? Because, we're paying you. You're not exactly in the Salvation Army. This is not a charity. You're actually a salaried employee making money at our expense, and you're mad because Elon Musk, on behalf of the president, wants to know what you did last week. I've never seen a more entitled bunch of brats in my life. Fire them all. Get rid of all of them. Laura Ingraham put it best last night on Fox News. Hey, go out and get a real job. Go out and get a job where you are held accountable. That'll be a shock to you. That'll be stunning to you. But in the real world, a lot of us are expected to be accountable for what we do, what we perform, what we present. Check out Laura Ingraham last night on Fox News.
How do you resurrect your party, though? By protecting red tape and the bureaucracy.
by trying to gin up sympathy for federal workers who need to get real jobs in the real world like most of America. Ever heard of it? Now, making a list of what you accomplished in a week, that's what she was whining about, is harassment and bullying? Of course, because that requires, what, 15 minutes of work? Now, these are the same types who think requiring them to return to the office where they haven't been, oftentimes for 4 years, that basically amounts to a hate crime.
I mean, and you know what the reaction from the mainstream media was to Laura Ingraham? Laura mocks this young woman, saying that she should go get a job. No, Laura Ingraham is saying you got to come to a reality check here and realize you're an entitled brat. But all these sites, Mediaite, oh, Laura Ingraham is making fun of this woman. That's what she deserves. She needs to be made fun of. That's what she should get. That's what she should expect. 800-655-MIKE. We're in the Relief Factor studios on the road at the Gaylord Hotel and Resort at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. Welcome aboard. We got a lot to cover today. 800-655-MIKE. 800. We haven't even gotten to Joy Reid. We haven't even begun to tackle the hellscape that is MSNBC, and they're in a tailspin. Poor Joy Reid. What's she going to do? Maybe there's an opening in a McDonald's somewhere where she could be the assistant manager. 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. Call, text, however you get here, get here.
Mike Gallagher.
A lot of text messages on the MyPillow text line coming in over the young woman, the federal worker, who felt absolutely infuriated being asked to explain what she did last week on her job. Richmond, Virginia, I'm a tradesman. When I was let go, I was told I could learn to code or become a greeter at Walmart. They need to suck it up. Here's Noel in Tucson. I think every American should be able to send their own members of Congress an email asking that member of Congress to explain what they did on behalf of their constituents last week and why taxpayers should continue paying for their salaries and benefits. Let's expand that email list to all state agencies as well. This federal worker who's complaining about being asked for accountability, she doesn't even realize she's part of the problem. If you're upset at Trump expecting federal workers to be held accountable, you're part of the problem. And Laura's right. Go out and get a real job. Hard work is honorable. Go wash dishes. Go clean houses. Go deliver mail. Go work in an office somewhere where you're not going to stay at home, kick your feet up, watch soap operas during the day, and say you're a federal worker. And I'm not saying that about every worker, obviously, and I'm not saying this about even most. But for this young woman to run around on national television and express her fury over being asked to be held accountable? Gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. Angela's in Florida. Angela, welcome to Grapevine, Texas, and the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. How are you?
How are you today?
Good to talk to you as well.
I'm appalled at that young woman. As a retired military person and retired civil service, when we were sent home for COVID, my boss requested every week a listing of what we did all week. Not just 5 things for the week, but what we did every day. And you're right, that young woman is part of the problem.
Absolutely. That's the problem, Angela. That's the bottom line. This is the federal, and I'm not, again, understand, I'm not trying to generalize, but I will say the federal worker mindset that I'm angry if my boss asks me to explain what I achieved last week, that's the problem. That's part of the problem. Imagine a federal worker going on CNN saying, I got this email. I felt absolutely infuriated. Complaining, whining about it. Here's Jesse Waters, Cut 3, Fox News last night, pointing out what we've been saying. That, look, if you're sitting around complaining about being asked to be held accountable in your job, you're the problem. You're the reason DOGE exists. You're the reason Trump is trying to get rid of people who can't even justify why they do what they do. Check out Jesse Waters last night, Fox News.
Ben Franklin, what did he say? What have you done to make yourself better today? What did you do to make your organization better today? So when I see a request like this, I'm inspired. Other people felt like it was demeaning. And if you think an email like this is demeaning, you're part of the problem. Because if you don't think you have to justify your job and you think you're entitled to your job, then that's why we need an attitude adjustment. This is what this was. This is an attitude adjustment. People need to be reminded that they're public servants. They serve the public. They're not there to serve themselves from the public piggy bank.
Right. He's right on the money. How can you disagree with that? How do you do? I mean, and isn't it crazy how Trump has this ability, this uncanny ability to expose the people who are dropping the ball? He has this innate ability to have the dregs be exposed. It's astounding. He does it over and over and over again. He has this uncanny ability to draw the worst out from under their rocks and expose them for who they are.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.